There was a time when we trusted the banks the same way we trusted our family doctor. It felt safe, simple, and dependable. You deposited your money, and you believed it would be there when you needed it. But today, in the year 2025, that trust feels shaken, maybe even broken. Silicon Valley Bank collapsed in a single day. People woke up and could not access their life savings. And for those of us who lived through the financial crisis of 2008, the memories are still fresh. Watching your retirement account drop, feeling helpless, wondering what went wrong. It is something you do not forget. And yet, here we are again, asking the same question. Is my money truly safe in the bank? So let me ask you something. What if I told you that keeping your money in the bank might be one of the most dangerous things you can do today? What if the very system we were taught to trust is now putting our security, our independence, and our legacy at risk? This is not about fear. It is about awareness. And today, I want to share something practical with you, something powerful. I'm going to walk you through 7 smart, safer places for your money in the year 2025. These are not risky bets or get-rich-quick ideas. These are thoughtful, time-tested, and in many cases, underused strategies that people just like you are using right now to protect their wealth, generate income, and sleep better at night. Now let us begin. 1. U.S. Treasury Bonds. Let us begin with the foundation. A quiet, steady choice that has protected American savers for generations. Asset number 1. United States Treasury Bonds. If you are looking for something safe, predictable, and backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government, this may be your answer. Think of it this way. You are lending money to the government, and in return, they pay you interest. But unlike a regular savings account, the risk of losing your money here is extremely low. In fact, many investors see Treasury bonds as one of the safest places to keep their wealth. As of this year, Treasury bonds are offering interest rates over 4% annually. That is 4 times more than what most savings accounts are paying at the big banks. And in many cases, even more depending on how long you are willing to hold the bond. So who is this for? If you are retired or close to it, and you want stability without the emotional roller coaster of the stock market or the complexity of newer financial tools, Treasury bonds may be a very wise option. They are especially useful during times of uncertainty. In fact, during recessions or periods of global instability, investors usually move toward Treasury bonds, which makes their value go up. Now, there is one catch. You should think of this as a medium to long-term asset. That means you will want to hold on to it for several months or even a few years. You can sell a bond before it matures, but the price you get depends on current market conditions, so there may be some fluctuation. The good news is, getting started is very simple. You can purchase bonds directly from the government using a platform called Treasury Direct. Or, if you already have an account with a financial institution like Vanguard or Fidelity, you can buy bonds there as well. So let us recap. Treasury bonds offer you 3 powerful benefits. Number 1, safety. Number 2, predictable income. And number 3, better returns than most savings accounts. If you are someone who values peace of mind and wants to preserve what you have worked hard to earn, this is a strong place to begin. Now, if you are the type of person who prefers something real, something you can see and touch, maybe even walk into, then asset number 2 is going to be especially interesting. Shall we keep going? 2. Real estate. Or, as I like to call it, wealth you can walk into. Let me tell you a story. A friend of mine, her name is Linda, bought a small duplex outside of Grand Rapids, Michigan, back in the early 1990s. It was nothing fancy, just a 2-unit place with good bones and a decent location. Today, More than 30 years later, that same property not only tripled in value, but it also gives her steady monthly income, more than her Social Security check. That little home has turned into her quiet retirement partner. That is the beauty of real estate. It is tangible. You can see it, touch it, and visit it. It does not disappear overnight like a stock or fluctuate wildly like a cryptocurrency. And over time, despite market ups and downs, real estate has one powerful trait. It tends to go up. In the year 2025, the housing market is already showing signs of recovery, especially in mid-sized cities and logistics hubs. Places like Nashville, Tennessee, and Raleigh, North Carolina, have seen property values rise more than 40% in the past 3 years. That is not just appreciation. That is real, long-term wealth creation. And here is another key point. Real estate protects against inflation. While your money sits in a bank account slowly losing purchasing power, a property, especially one that brings in rental income, is actually gaining value and giving you monthly cash flow. Now, I will be honest. Owning a property does come with responsibilities. There are maintenance costs, property taxes, and sometimes vacancies. But with the right location, a clear plan, and maybe a property manager to help, it can be one of the most reliable and rewarding assets in your portfolio. And here is the good news. Even if you do not have the savings for a down payment, or you do not want to deal with tenants, you can still invest in real estate through something called a real estate investment trust. These are known as REITs. They allow you to invest in real estate through the stock market. Companies like Realty Income or Fundrise offer options where you can start with just a few $100s and earn dividends every month. So whether it is a rental house, a small vacation cabin, or a piece of a commercial property through a REIT, real estate gives you 3 important things. Number 1, it gives you a physical asset you can understand. Number 2, it can create monthly income. And number 3, it tends to rise in value over time, especially when you choose your location wisely. If you want something solid, stable, and familiar, real estate has earned its reputation as one of the most trusted ways to grow wealth over time. Coming up next, we are going to talk about something even older than real estate, something your grandparents probably valued, and something the world's central banks are quietly buying more of right now. 3. Gold, the family safety net. Let me take you back for a moment. My grandfather, who lived through the Great Depression, used to keep a small gold coin tucked away in a paper envelope inside his desk drawer. He never talked much about money, but one day I asked him why he kept that coin. He looked me in the eye and said, "Because when the world forgets its value, gold remembers." That stayed with me. Gold is not new. It is not trendy. And that is exactly what makes it powerful. Gold has been used as a store of value for thousands of years, long before there were banks, stocks, or savings accounts. When governments rise and fall, when currencies inflate or collapse, gold has remained silent, steady, and strong. And here is what is happening today. In the year 2025, gold prices have reached historic highs, already crossing the $3,000 per ounce mark. Why? Because uncertainty is everywhere. Inflation, political instability, global debt. The world is looking for something real, something no government can print more of. Unlike paper money, gold is scarce. It is physical. It is indestructible. It does not require a password or a power outlet. It does not need an internet connection or a login. And while it does not pay interest, it provides something far more important: peace of mind. Gold is not about generating fast income. It is about protecting the value of what you already have. Now, how do you actually get it? You can buy physical gold in the form of coins or bars from trusted dealers like APMEX or JM Bullion. If you prefer not to store it yourself, You can also invest through exchange-traded funds, such as those that hold gold on your behalf. These are available through most brokerages and offer exposure to gold without needing a safe at home. One thing to keep in mind is that gold is not a short-term asset. Its value can fluctuate from month to month. But when you look at it over decades, it tells a clear story. And during crises, when other things fall apart, gold often goes up in value. Charlie Munger, who was Warren Buffett's longtime partner, once said, "Gold is a great thing to sew into your garments if you're a Jewish family in Vienna in 1939. That quote may sound dramatic, but it speaks to a deeper truth. Gold has always been the ultimate form of protection when trust in the system breaks down. So if you are looking for something that holds its value, that can be passed down to your children, and that gives you a quiet sense of security no matter what the headlines say, gold deserves a place in your strategy. Now, if you are someone who prefers your assets with a little more personality, something rare and beautiful that can grow in value over time, then you are going to love what we talk about next. Let's explore collectibles. 4. Collectibles and luxury items, or as I like to call them, the joy that pays. Let me ask you something. Do you still have your father's watch? Or maybe an old baseball card collection from your younger days? Maybe a few pieces of art you picked up during your travels? What if I told you some of those sentimental treasures could be worth more now than you ever imagined? In the past 10 years, certain collectible items have quietly outperformed the stock market. I'm talking about vintage watches, fine art, rare coins, classic cars, and even limited edition toys. That is right. Some sets of Lego bricks from the early 2000s have increased in value by over 380%. But why is that? The answer is simple: scarcity and emotion. Collectibles are more than investments. They are pieces of history. They carry stories. They are limited in supply, often beautiful, and loved by a niche community of collectors who are willing to pay a premium to own them. Take the Rolex Daytona, once worn by Paul Newman. It was originally bought for $200. Decades later, it sold at auction for over $17 million. Or consider a rare Ferrari from the 1960s. One of them sold for over $70 million. There was even a painting by the street artist known as Banksy that increased in value after it partially destroyed itself at auction. Strange, I know. But the point is this: rare and meaningful items are now seen as legitimate assets. Now, let me bring this closer to home. You do not need millions of dollars to get started. Maybe you have a collection of vintage vinyl records, old comic books, porcelain dolls, or even antique furniture. You might be sitting on value without even knowing it. And thanks to technology, investing in collectibles has become more accessible than ever. Platforms like Rally and Masterworks allow people to invest in fractional shares of art, Mars, and other high-end items. That means you can own a piece of $1 million Picasso or a classic car with just a few $100s. Now, I want to be clear. Collectibles are not for everyone. They do not offer the same liquidity as stocks or bonds, and they require patience. But if you enjoy beauty, history, and owning something truly unique, this type of asset might be the perfect blend of passion and profit. And here is a beautiful bonus. Many of these items can be passed down to your children or grandchildren, not just for their financial value, but for the memories they hold. So, think about it. What do you already own that might be worth something? Or what might you enjoy collecting that could become more valuable over time? Coming up next is an asset that might sound a little old-fashioned, but when used wisely, it can be the one thing that keeps you grounded when everything else goes wrong. Let's talk about the power of physical cash. 5. Physical cash. Freedom in your hands. Now I know what you might be thinking. Cash? I thought we were trying to move forward, not backward. But hear me out. In a world where everything is digital, From our bank accounts to our credit cards to the way we pay for coffee, having a stash of physical cash is not just smart, it is essential. Let me paint you a picture. You are on a road trip. It is late. A storm knocks out power in the area. The gas station is open, but their card readers are down. Your phone has no signal, and your banking app cannot connect. But you open your glove compartment and pull out a crisp $50 bill. Problem solved. It is not just theory. This kind of situation has happened in Greece, in Lebanon, and yes, even in the United States. When Silicon Valley Bank collapsed in the year 2023, thousands of people were unable to withdraw money. ATMs went dry, online banking was locked, and many people were left completely stranded, unable to pay rent, buy groceries, or fuel up their cars. This is why having physical cash, real money you can hold in your hand, is not a conspiracy theory. It is common sense. Now let me be clear. I am not saying you should pull all your money out of the bank and keep it under your mattress. That is not wise. But having a small, intentional reserve of cash, safely stored in your home, can make all the difference in an emergency. Most financial experts, including Susie Orman, recommend keeping between $1,000 and $2,000 in physical cash at home, enough to cover 1 to 2 months of basic expenses if your digital access is cut off. Store it in a fireproof safe or a secure place that only you and your family know about. Think of it like this. You buy car insurance hoping you never need it. Cash is the same way. You hope you never run into a situation where the system breaks down. But if it does, you will be glad you planned ahead. The key here is discretion, safety, and smart storage. Not fear, not panic, just preparation. So if you are building a balanced financial life, especially in uncertain times, make sure physical cash has a seat at the table. It is simple, it is silent, and in a true emergency, it just might be your most powerful tool. Now, if you are ready to move beyond saving and into something more active, something that gives you real control and creates income every month, then you are going to want to hear about asset number 6, because this next one is not something you buy. It is something you build. Let us talk about your own business. 6. Your own business. The asset you build, not buy. This might surprise you, but one of the most powerful financial tools you can have in retirement is not a stock, not a bond, and not even a piece of real estate. It is something far more personal. It is a small business, one that you control, one that reflects your skills, your passions, and your years of experience. Now, before you think, I'm too old to start a business, let me stop you right there. You are not. In fact, this stage of life may be the best time. You have knowledge, you have perspective, and most importantly, you understand people. And that is what good businesses are built on. Starting a business today does not have to mean renting a storefront or hiring employees. It could be something as simple as selling homemade crafts on a site like Etsy, writing an ebook and publishing it online, or even starting a YouTube channel like this one, sharing your story, your wisdom, or your hobbies with others who are searching for exactly what you know. Take Johnny, for example. He started with one pizza oven and a counter in his small-town neighborhood. Now he owns 5 locations, has 10 employees, and provides for his whole family, all because he believed in the idea of building something for himself. Let me say this clearly. While your money sits in a bank account earning 1% per year, a well-run small business can generate 100% return per month. Of course, that depends on effort, planning, and demand. But the potential is real. And if you are worried about the learning curve, remember, there are tools out there designed to help beginners. Platforms like Shopify make it easy to launch an online store. Websites like Teachable help you create courses from what you already know. And services like Fiverr or Upwork let you offer your talents, whether it is editing photos, writing resumes, or giving advice. And let us not forget, this is not just about making money. It is about meaning. It is about building something that reflects who you are, something that brings structure, joy, and maybe even a bit of purpose into your day. For many retirees, starting a small business is not a burden. It is a blessing. Will it require time and effort? Yes. Will there be moments of trial and error? Certainly. But think about this. Some of the most successful people in history started with far less than you have right now. Jeff Bezos started in a garage. Sarah Blakely began Spanx with $5,000 and a notebook full of ideas. And you? You have experience, wisdom, and a lifetime of lessons that people would pay to learn from. So ask yourself, what do you already know? What can you teach, create, or share with others? What small step can you take today that could become a new stream of income tomorrow? If you are looking for freedom, independence, and the ability to control your own financial future, even in retirement, then building your own business might be the most powerful asset of all. And now, for the final asset on our list. This one is modern, digital, and yes, controversial. But in a world where the financial rules are changing fast, it might be time to talk seriously about cryptocurrency. Let's take a closer look. 7. Cryptocurrency, the digital safe haven. Now I know this one might raise a few eyebrows. Maybe you have heard people say cryptocurrency is risky, unstable, or just a passing trend. And to be honest, some of that concern is valid. It is new, it is different, and it does not work like the financial systems we grew up with. But here is the thing, we cannot ignore it anymore. Cryptocurrency, especially Bitcoin, has now been around for over 15 years, and in that time, it has done something extraordinary. It has outperformed every other major asset class: stocks, gold, real estate, all of them. A $100 investment in Bitcoin back in the year 2010 would be worth over $50 million today. Now, of course, past performance does not guarantee future results. But numbers like that get your attention? So, what makes cryptocurrency different? First, it is completely independent from traditional banks and governments. No one can print more of it. Bitcoin, for example, has a hard limit. There will only ever be 21 million coins in existence. That makes it scarce. And scarcity, as we have seen with gold and real estate, drives value. Second, it is borderless. You can send it to someone across the world in seconds. No paperwork, no approvals, no delays. That makes it especially powerful in times of crisis, or when trust in traditional systems starts to weaken. Now, I will be honest with you. Cryptocurrency is not without risk. Its price can swing up or down quickly. It is not something you want to put your entire life savings into. But as a small part of your overall financial strategy, even just 1 or 2%, it can act as a hedge or a modern kind of insurance against the weaknesses in our current system. And it is not just individual investors taking notice. Major companies like MicroStrategy, Square, and even Tesla have added Bitcoin to their balance sheets. BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, now offers Bitcoin funds to their clients. And El Salvador, a sovereign nation, made it legal tender. This is no longer a fringe movement. This is a shift. Getting started is easier than you might think. You can buy cryptocurrency through trusted platforms like Coinbase or Cash App, and you can begin with as little as $1. You do not need to be an expert. Just take the time to understand how it works, store it securely, and view it as a long-term asset, not a quick gamble. Here is the bottom line. Cryptocurrency is not about being trendy. It is about preparing for a world where the old financial rules are changing. You do not need to go all in, but you do need to be aware, informed, and ready for what comes next. So, there you have it. 7 assets. Each one unique, each one powerful, and each one designed to give you something the traditional banking system no longer guarantees: peace of mind. Now let us take a moment to bring it all together, because what matters most is not just what you invest in, it is why you invest in the first place. Let's wrap this up together. You have just learned about 7 powerful assets that can help protect your wealth, generate income, and bring more security to your financial life in the year 2025 and beyond. Let's take a step back for a moment. This is not about chasing trends. It is not about trying to beat the market or gamble your future away. This is about something deeper, something more personal. It is about peace of mind. It is about knowing that what you have worked for, what you have built over a lifetime, is not at risk every time the market shakes or the headlines scream. Maybe you connected with the safety of Treasury Bonds. Maybe you see the value in a small real estate property, or perhaps gold feels like the right anchor for uncertain times. Maybe you are thinking about turning a skill or passion into a small business. Or maybe, just maybe, you're starting to understand why so many people are taking a second look at digital assets like cryptocurrency. Whatever stood out to you today, just remember this: you do not have to do everything, but you do need to do something. Leaving all your money sitting in a bank account is no longer the safe, simple strategy it once was. Inflation eats away at it, crises freeze it, and interest rates are not keeping up. The good news is, you have options, you have tools, and you have time. The 7 assets we talked about today are not perfect. Nothing in life is. But each one gives you a different kind of strength. Whether it is stability, income, growth, or independence, these assets can help you live the next chapter of your life with more freedom and less fear. And now, I want to hear from you. Which of these assets feels right for you at this moment in your life? Which one are you most curious about? I read every comment, and I believe we can all learn from each other, not just through advice, but through experience. Your story could help someone else take their first step.